Good afternoon. We're back with more Marvel Champions, and today we'll be talking about Rogue. Now, Rogue is a bit of a complicated champion to discuss, and I'm a bit loath to do a hero spotlight on her at all because her mechanics are partly non functional for solo play, and I don't like that. Being a primarily solo player, I don't like heroes being designed with a part of their kit not being usable in solo play. And so I didn't really want Rogue to be good when I was playtesting, but I do want to be honest and as objective as possible. And objectively speaking, Rogue is not bad. Now, the reason her mechanics are partly non-functional is this touched card. Let's take a look at that. Here we have touched. Touched is an upgrade that comes into play during setup. If touched is attached to a minion, Rogue's attacks gain overkill, a villain Rogue gains retaliate, an ally Rogue gains the aerial trait, and a hero Rogue gains stalwart. Rogue can attach touched to a new target each round, and the reason this is partly non-functional in solo play is that Rogue cannot attach touched to herself. So, if you're playing solo, there are no other heroes for Rogue to attach touched to, and that means you can never gain stalwart. Now, that being said, most of the time in solo, 90+% of the time you're going to want to attach touched to a villain because the villain effects on the events are the best in my opinion, although sometimes you'll want it attached to an ally, almost never or rarely to a minion in my experience. When touched is attached to a villain, Rogue's events are pretty good, though she is not that great against stalwart villains, a problem that a lot of different heroes have. But anyway, partly non-functional in solo due to the way the hero was designed, but nonetheless, Bulletproof Bell is very strong. Going Rogue and Southern Cross are pretty strong, good value for what they provide, and energy transfer is pretty good as well. And so Rogue ends up doing okay in solo. At least there's a few things that she can clear, enough to get her into the B plus tier, I would say. So we're going to take a look at some Rogue gameplay. We're going to play a scenario that I haven't played as part of this hero spotlight before. We're going to play Risky Business on Heroic 1 difficulty. And we'll continue to talk about Rogue there. So let's get set up and we'll get started. I want to be clear, saying Rogue is still functional and can do some things in solo does certainly not mean that she is good or that I'm recommending buying her for solo. She's definitely toward the lower end of the list in terms of the heroes that I've spotlighted so far. And she's got a lot of potential in multiplayer because this ability to gain the traits of allies means you could include cards in your deck, a wide variety of cards that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Depending on the hero that she's paired with, for example, you could build a deck around Web Warriors. If you're playing with a Web Warrior partner, you could put touched on them and Rogue could gain their traits, and then you could play the very strong Web Warrior cards, or you could do something like that with a Mystic and be able to play Sorcerer Supreme and or Spiritual Meditation. The possibilities are endless in terms of deck building potential. That being said, the main criteria that we're looking for in terms of hero strength is A, resource generation, and B, event strength. And with resource generation being given the largest amount of weight, and Rogue's resource generation is nothing to speak of. In fact, she doesn't have any. So if you don't use her to gain like a Mystic trait and get Sorcerer Supreme, well, she needs some way to generate resources. All heroes do in order to be elite, and Rogue doesn't have that, but she does have a lot of potential for building fun or interesting decks. It's just that her power level isn't really there, though it is, because of the strength of her events, still above average. So let's get started with Rogue typically when I'm playing Rogue in solo, touched is just going to be permanently or semi-permanently attached to the villain. So I don't need 2 going rogues. Okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Beast, and we'll grab a resource card. And then 1, 2 for Angel. We'll flip, we'll get touched on the villain. We'll go ahead and flip the villain. And that's going to mean 4 indirect damage. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll draw 4. So we got 1 threat. We got an attack from Green Goblin, which is going to go on... Well, we're going to bulletproof Bell here. So we'll bulletproof Bell. When an enemy with touched attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and gain a tough status card. So it's going to be 4 boost, remove 1 madness counter, unfortunate, but no damage, and then gain a tough status card. And then we got 2 encounter cards coming. Goblin Glider and Payoff. So, not enough resources for Nick Fury. That tends to be a problem with defense events, so that they constrain you a little bit in terms of your resources. I think we can go rapid response here, though Utopia is very tempting. I think I'll go Utopia. We'll thwart for 2 and get rid of Payoff, and then we'll go 1, 2, and 1, 2, and draw 5. So we got 1 threat, we got an attack from Green Goblin. Just gonna go on Angel. By the way, touched would be detached from the boss at the beginning of the player phase and then reattached. I'm going to do that every round unless I specify otherwise. Okay, we got Master Plan for another Payoff. And then Regenerative Healings, that's going to be +4. And we're on to the player phase. Unfortunately, no X-Men to take advantage of Utopia with. We can go strengthen numbers and try to find one. Maria Hill. Play Maria Hill and draw a card. Forge. We've already got out Utopia. I think I want to play Going Rogue. So use Band Together for 2 resources since we've got 2 allies. At this point, I didn't have to put touched on anyone, so I could add Going Rogue to an ally and gain Aerial. Stalwart would be my preference if I had a hero to attach it to, but I don't, because I don't need the extra threat since I'm going to use it. Well, let's just go 1, 2, 3 and add Confuse. It's fine. This villain heavily discourages you from switching to Alter Ego, though it's fine when he's got the Confuse on him. And Superpower Adaptation is not going to be very useful in solo. It's pretty much always a dead card. Just draw 4. So 1 threat, 1 attack. We'll put that on Beast. I've got Band Together now, Actually, I'm going to tank the attack to the face because of band together. I want to maintain its value. So we'll just let the toughness eat the attack. And we got 2 encounter cards. All in a day's work. Remove madness counters, and that's going to flip back to Norman Osborn. And then place 2 more infamy counters. Okay, so let's go. Interesting. Let's go 1, 2, 3 for White Tiger. Draw 2 cards. Strengthen numbers with these 2 and draw 2 cards. I think I'm gonna band together for Ironheart, retire Maria Hill, and draw a card. We'll go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Actually, I think we're gonna flip and heal here. Heal. And then we'll go... No, I don't want to do that. Regroup's not going to be useful here because Norman's not going to attack. So I think I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3 for Gambit. And ready up Rogue, then we'll attack. Which flips, deals 4 indirect. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3 damage and draw 5. And we have to retire Ironheart in order to play Gambit there. Oh, actually, no, each of my allies doesn't have the X-Men trait, so that doesn't apply. Draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I forgot to retaliate damage when I was attacked with toughness. So let's see. 1 threat. And we'll attack. We'll have the attack go on Beast. And then we got 2 encounter cards. Okay, I think that attack will go on Gambit because I want to use Regroup with White Tiger. It's so high value that I'm willing to sacrifice Gambit. Oh. And then he flips back. Well, that's going to become a problem. So... let's go 1, 2 for Kalu. Look at the top 5. Grab energy transfer. So to play energy transfer, we wait until the last possible moment to put touched where it needs to go, because in case we want to do something else with it. If I deal 2 damage, he's going to flip and deal 4. And I can't take 4 indirect damage right now. So, just gonna have Kalu thwart. We're gonna flip to Alter Ego. We're gonna heal. And we're gonna just draw 2, actually 3. Oh, there's all the Southern Crosses. Well, the villain schemes for 2, 3. Blank Surge. Pumpkin Bombs. Okay. Let's heal again. Flip. Let's go. Energy transfer. Attached, touched. Deal 2. Ready rogue. Heal 2. And don't think I'll flip Norman here. No, I do think I'll flip Norman here. Flip, and that means 4 damage. And then we'll go regroup. Draw 4. Alright, so 1 threat, 1 attack, 1 additional boost card. Back to the hand, 2 indirect damage, 3 encounter cards, hired gun, give a boost card, private security, mad genius, discard the top card of your deck for each infamy counter. Oh no, he attacks the hero with the fewest hit points remaining. No problem. Alright, so let's go 1, 2, 3 for White Tiger and draw 2. Let's go 1, 2 for Kalu. Grab an event. I want to throw the event away, I think. So I'm not looking for something playable. Play going rogue. Get a confuse. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the... Actually, I want to go 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Take out the hired gun and draw 4. So 1 threat, 1 attack. And that's going to flip him. So in the middle of the attack, he now doesn't do damage. If he flips in the middle of an attack, and instead we just get the 2 infamy counters. He should be exhausted, which happens when you declare him as a defender. And then 1 damage from the private security specialist. At least I think that's correct. It's possible he shouldn't be exhausted. Caught off guard, discard an upgrade or support. Hired gun. 2 infamy counters. Okay, well, let's get out Ironheart and draw a card. Take out the private security specialist. Band together for Southern Cross. Just gonna flip the boss back again and deal 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And get a stun on him. gonna go 1, 2, 3 and take out the hired gun. And then play Ant-Man just as a chump blocker. Draw 5. Pumpkin bombs. And we got another private security specialist. Okay, well I'm going to use strength in numbers here to draw 2. Two, 3, 4 for Nick Fury, and we'll draw 3. 2 and 2, and we'll go 3 for Southern Cross. 6 into stun. And we'll draw 5. So 1 threat, remove stun, and 2 encounter cards. Oscorp Manufacturing. All in a day's work. That's going to flip him back. Nick Fury leaves at the end of the round, so we're going to have to heal. Go 1, 2, 3, 4 for... Actually, first let's use strength in numbers. Draw 2. Next we can go 1, 2, 4 for Beast, and we'll grab a resource card. And then we'll use Going Rogue. Take care of that. It's already confused. So probably should put touched on. Actually, it doesn't matter. I would love to put it on a hero here, but not possible. And we'll go 1, 2. We'll flip. We'll heal. Draw 5. One threat, remove confuse, 2 encounter cards, and that's going to add an acceleration token. It's a blank surge. Wait, did I not flip him? He should be flipped. Should be flipped, right? Let me check. Oh no, it's correct as he is because I forgot about the L in a day's work. So let's see, I added 1 threat, removed the confused, and then I revealed Assault, right? Okay. Which was just a blank surge. And then Master Plan. And then Deadly Touch. So we have 2 threat on the main scheme. And Intimidation, which is a boost card. Okay, well, let's heal again. Let's flip. Let's go. One, 2, 1. 1, 2. Two for Angel. 2 for energy transfer. Attach touch to the villain. We'll flip him with the 2 damage. Ready Rogue, heal 2. Then we'll deal 4. Slowly but steadily making progress. Attack on beast. 1 counter. Pumpkin bombs for 2. Payoff, payoff. Okay. Well, we'll pause for just a sec. You can see that in this video, the strengths and weaknesses of Rogue. Going Rogue has done work. Southern Cross has done work. Bulletproof Bell was good the one time that we saw it. But no resource generation means she struggles to match pace with even relatively simple challenges on high difficulty. Heroic 1 or expert scenarios like Magneto or Ronin, who like to bring lots of encounter cards in, or Venom Goblin. These are going to be very big problems for Rogue with no resource generation because she simply can't match their strength, even with relatively efficient events. And because part of the efficiency is tied up in stuns and confuses, those bosses like to throw Stalwart at you, or Steady. And so Rogue just isn't going to make it to the S or even A tier. She'll be like a B plus hero. But the strength of her events does make her above average as far as heroes go. This is going to be a very weak turn. I think I have to attach touch to a friendly character this turn so I can use super power adaptation. Search the discard pile for, but that only searches for a basic event, and I don't even have any basic events, so I mean here you can see the limitations of Rogue in solo play. If I had other allies to attach this to, or if I had other players, like another hero I could attach this to, touch to, superpower adaptation would be quite good here. As it is, it's useless. Because I don't have any basic events, I can't attach touch to Rogue, so yeah, it's just absolutely useless, and it results in a dead turn, where otherwise there wouldn't be one. I can get rid of one of these payoffs. I can not do anything about hostile takeover completing if I do that. I can push Green Goblin into phase 3, which would deal another 4 damage. And this time it's direct. So I can't push Green Goblin into phase 3 right now. Or what, I think he was at 2. So instead, not going to do that damage. I'm just going to thwart for 1, I guess. Or actually, I'm going to make like a desperate attempt to draw something here. Ironheart, that's a good draw. Can draw another card. Rogue's Jacket, sure. Regroup, sure. And then we can thwart for 1, but this is still going to be a rough turn. So we got quest completed. What was that effect? Place 1 infamy counter on criminal enterprise, then discard 1 for each counter. There aren't any cards on criminal, or not on the criminal enterprise side. So I guess that does nothing. I don't really know. And in corporate acquisition, it adds an additional encounter card. So we've got an attack coming from Green Goblin. One, two, three, 4 encounter cards. Goblin Glider, that just surges, there's nothing to attach it to. 2. It's another attack. And that flips him mid-attack again. So no damage. Intimidation. Private security. Well, we can get out Blade. We can get out Ironheart. We can go strength in numbers with Blade. Attack. I really want to keep the bulletproof bell though. We're going to pay off. Just going to discard those. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Actually, I don't need the bulletproof bell right now. One, two. Three. Generates 4. Oscorp. Okay. Yeah, I just don't see how I'm going to win this one. Strength in numbers for 2. Go 3 for a Southern Cross and take out one of these dudes. It's another spot where I'd like to draw a card, but I don't have a hero to attach touch to. Going rogue. Clear, add a confuse. Private security. Two. 1 damage. Collapsing bridge. Mad Genius. Discard 8. Okay, so that's going to add another encounter card. Caught off guard. And discard 8. I think that was 8. Well, White Tiger, first let's use Angel. Get out regroup. Going rogue. So here we'll attach touch to an ally and we get 5 threat reduction. Regroup is trying its best to carry and add resources. But eventually, we can only stall for so long before we're going to get too many acceleration tokens and just threat out. Give a boost card. Another boost card. And yeah, forgot regroup wouldn't really have a use. I don't know if I had a better use for those resources. Let's go ahead and use Blade for 2. Get out Nick Fury and draw 3. And we'll go Fort for 2. Energy transfer. Get touched on the villain. Where did touched go? Did it get shuffled into my deck somehow? Yeah, it did. So 2 damage, 2 healing. Ready up. Regroup isn't going to be useful, so let's energy transfer again. I don't know how this works. Does it mean you have to attach it to something different? My interpretation is that you can then... It just says attach touch to a character other than Rogue. What if it is already attached? Probably you can't do that. Probably, again, this is a multiplayer designed hero. Probably it would like you to attach touch to a different target. Well, in multiplayer, there'd still only be one villain. I don't know what the correct thing is there, but I guess we'll just discard all 3 of these cards and draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2. So the boost card's piling up there. Well, this is getting out of reach. We're not really making progress. So I think at this point I will concede. It's not a very good hero spotlight for Rogue in terms of making her look good. She was able to defeat Rhino on Heroic 1 difficulty, which is something that makes her above average. Not a lot of heroes can do that. And as I said, I think this hero would be a lot more fun to play and be stronger in multiplayer. However, the central problem that we saw in this game will still be present in multiplayer, and that is a lack of resource generation. Her events are reasonable, but not out of control. She's comparable in terms of her event strength to like Miles Morales, I'd say. Miles Morales for 2 cost does 6 damage and a stun. For Rogue that costs 3, but she does have Southern Cross that removes 5 and gets a confused, though Miles gets a toughness along with that, so he probably has slightly better resources. They're in the same ballpark, but then Rogue has the addition of this retaliate or potentially the overkill or the stalwart, the flexibility of being able to draw a card or deal additional damage or get additional threat reduction. And then she also has the bulletproof bell, which is a stronger defensive card than anything Miles has. So I would say they're roughly comparable in terms of event strength. And they both kind of lack resource generation, though Miles does have the web shooter. Overall, Rogue is going into the above average in our tier list, but she'll be the lowest of the heroes that we have spotlighted so far. And I'm going to show the Rhino on Heroic 1 game, just to show what it looks like when it's going well for Rogue in solo play. This is with a different variant of the Rogue deck, the Uncanny X-Men deck, which I think is a little bit worse than the leadership deck that I was playing with Rogue. She doesn't take particularly good advantage of Uncanny X-Men because she doesn't have access to all of the X-Men as Cyclops does, but Uncanny X-Men is a very reasonable way to go with this deck. And it is arguable which one is better, though. My playtesting, I think, showed that the leadership deck that I was playing with Rogue is a little bit better, as that deck was also able to beat Rhino on Heroic 1, but had a little bit of an easier time with it than this Uncanny X-Men deck did. But anyway, not able to clear Breaking and Taken on turn 1, which is unfortunate. But that was a choice, and the choice was to take the extra encounter card and get out Uncanny X-Men right away. So here I'm thinking about whether I want to defend with Rogue or not, and I decide that I do. Take 2 damage, also retaliate damage for Rhino. And then we got 3 encounter cards coming in. Master Plan. Deadly Touch, so that's going to be 2 threat on the main scheme. And Stampede, so that's going to be more damage into stun on Rogue. Now, here I got a choice. I could play Beast to gain a resource card, but then I wouldn't be able to me my X-Men. So, just reattaching Touch to Rhino, which I'm going to do pretty much permanently unless otherwise specified. I do think Rogue is another hero that is going for... Oh, I forgot Beast is cost -1, so I actually don't have to spend all my cards to play him, thanks to Uncanny X-Men. And we'll play Going Rogue and drop the threat off Breaking and Taken and get a Confuse on Rhino. And then draw 5. So against Rhino, the strength of the events is sufficient, but any kind of encounter deck that ramps up or brings a lot of resources to the table in terms of like hero attachments that you have to spend resources to discard, or minions, Rogue is going to struggle due to her lack of resource generation. That's not really what Rhino's trying to do. Rhino's trying to beat you with lots of attacks and then some heals. But later scenarios, very common for enemies to bring lots of resources to the table, attachments, minions, and then also pretty common for villains to have stalwart or steady as the game moves along, and that is a problem for Rogue as it reduces the value of the Southern Cross or the Going Rogue events. So we got Bulletproof Bell, which leaves us with a limited turn on the hero turn, but we can get out Rogue's Jacket, thwart for a little bit. We got the toughness to deal with the charge, so that's good. But she is stunned and confused at the moment. Caught off guard. Rogue's Jacket's not very important. Okay. So we'll probably get the stun off of there first. Play Forge for 1 resource and grab Utopia. Get out Colossus. Beast is not dead due to his +1 HP thanks to Uncanny X-Men. So get the stun off of there, and I'm thinking about leaving the toughness on Colossus in order to tank an attack. Exhaust the identity and enhanced ivory horn, so +1 attack for the boss. So we've got a Professor X, which we can play for 2 thanks to Uncanny X-Men. Get a confuse on the boss with the professor. To me, my X-Men will mean I need to retire an ally. That'll be the professor. That damage should go on the armored Rhino suit. And then Angel comes back to hand. So Rhino is going to attack. Defend with Rogue. That means she's going to be stunned again. Well, except we can bulletproof Bell, so we can prevent all the damage. Actually, don't even need to exhaust her for the attack for that, because it's just when an enemy attacks, not when you defend, or not when your hero defends. So don't need to exhaust Rogue there. And then another attack, and we can have the toughness tank that. Moving along though. Forgetting about the armored Rhino suit for some reason. So Rhino should have 4 more HP, and an armored Rhino suit should be off the table, or possibly 5 more HP. I don't know. No, there, I remembered. There we go. And Rhino heals. Why did I do that? I don't know. Oh, I was trying to grab touched. I just wasn't looking directly at it. I would say with Uncanny X-Men on the table, the outcome of this isn't really in danger. But it is going to be kind of a grindy fight, and does illustrate what Rogue can do and can't do, because this is a relatively easy Heroic 1 villain compared to other villains, and certainly not one that the other heroes that we've spotlighted have had any trouble with. Though I would say this isn't really going poorly. I'm being hard on Rogue, but she is well above average. Even with the limitations, I just wish that there had been a way in her design to be able to play with her full kit in solo play. And I think it's important to be hard on a hero when there is something to be hard on the hero about, because players are trying to decide whether or not to buy this hero. By far the most popular video that I've ever done was the buying guide for Lord of the Rings LCG. Players are watching some of these videos and trying to decide which hero packs they would like to buy and which ones they would not like to buy. And if you are primarily a solo player and you're thinking about buying Rogue, you should do so with all of the information. With informed consent about what the hero can do and what she can't do. And that means letting you know that there are severe limitations with her kit in solo play, but that she is still above average. So, get out the professor again. Get some healing on Rogue. So we'll heal, flip, and then play the professor so that we can use Utopia. Get Rhino into phase 3, get the stun on Rogue. Got a bulletproof bell to deal with the charge, so that's good. We'll get out Angel. Remove toughness. And get out Mirage as well. Our ally limit is +1 at the moment, thanks to Utopia, and Mirage can actually stun Rhino because he has less scheme than she does. Less scheme than her thwart. Any hero that has less than 2 thwart, Mirage can stun when she enters play. I think Rhino's the only hero, or the only villain that's possible with. There may be another one that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. And Rogue is stunned and confused again. So, if we were to draw a Southern Cross at this point, I'd say we'd be in pretty good shape to end the game this turn or next turn. As it is, we've got some damage. Just going to discard those 2 cards and then draw 4. So Rhino's going to attack. We have the bulletproof bell to deal with that attack. Bomb scare and a scheme for 2. Okay. So counting my damage, 2, 4, 5. I have like 8, I guess. Not enough. We'll get the stun off of Rogue. And to me, my X-Men. I'm 1 short on damage. If I'd played Colossus. So get out Havoc. Can ready Rogue with Utopia. So we'll thwart. Just for safety, so that potentially we could survive a advance. So we got to discard an encounter card and see what the boost icons are. We 1, so 1 damage extra and 1 damage on Havoc. And then we'll use Rogue for 3 damage. I can't thwart with her there because she's confused. So I should have done the damage. Should be 2 more threat on the break-in and Rhino. There we go. Remembered. And I added 1 too many threat back. And I should have marked off damage on Rhino. But no worries. Deadly Touch, 2 threat on the main scheme. Oh, I got an extra threat from Bomb Scare. That's where that came from. But I should have marked off damage on Rhino. So attack from Rogue, and then we can just Southern Cross. That will end the match. I would say that the leadership aspect did the heavy lifting here on this Rhino Heroic 1. And, well, that's Rogue. A pretty crippled hero in solo play, but one that seems like she'd be a lot of fun and versatile in multiplayer, so that's the reason to recommend her. Though I would emphasize that even in multiplayer, I don't think she's going to be that strong because her kit still lacks resource generation, but it is going to be versatile. There's going to be a wide array of combos available to her, and you can use her to like attach touched to a mystic hero and then have Sorcerer Supreme. At least I think you can. Yeah, you just play it while you have the mystic trait, and you get +1 hand size in hero form. So you can use something like that to help resolve part of her resource problem. So paired with a mystic hero, she might be okay, at least rise to, she'll be better. She'll rise to like the Scarlet Witch level, I would say, and get up to like the A minus tier. Probably like A minus. Should go from B to A minus if you attach touch to the right hero or have the right combination in multiplayer. But in solo, still she's above average, but just based on the strength of her events. But she's going to be in the B plus tier. So thank you for watching.